Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, and I'm here with a book haul. I did do some book buying at the beginning of the year, and it's only going up in February because there's one book that I think is lost in the mail. And the bookseller has said that it could take up to 40 business days to get here, so I don't even know if I can when and if I can get a return or I don't know, just a compensation for it not getting here. They said that they don't have a tracking number for it, and it's coming from Germany, so I'm just hoping it's very, very delayed because I counted out the 40 business days. It could still be here mid-March, but I'm not feeling too optimistic because was it October, I ordered a copy of Orley Farm, which funny now with how Orley Farm was not a hit with me, but it just never came. So we shall see what we see. But I do have some beautiful books to show you. And the first is one that I'm currently reading, and that is Son of Gold and Sorrow by the one, the only Cathie Hoyle. If you have followed me for a couple of years, I have just really adored Cathie Hoyle's fairy tale retellings, and where are they? They're right there. So Son of the Deep, it's one of my absolute favorite books, and I have read it 3 times now, and I think I will be rereading it again this year. And then I really enjoyed Son of Bitter Glass. That is, so Son of the Deep is a retelling of Little Mermaid, and then Son of Bitter Glass is a retelling of the Snow Queen. And this is a retelling of the tale of Pretty Goldilocks. This, I thought when I heard that title, oh, it's Goldilocks and the Three Bears, but it's a completely different fairy tale. And James is one of the main characters in this, and you meet him in Son of the Deep, and then you see him again in Son of Bitter Glass, and then he's one of the main characters in this one. So what I love is that the fairy tale collection they're all kind of standalones, but they're in the same interconnected universe, so you can read them whichever order you choose, but it's neat to see those connections. So Aurelia is the main character, the main female character in this one, and I find that I am just extremely invested in James and Aurelia. I really want to know that they're going to have a happy ending, and I'm not sure how much I want to say about the plot. At the beginning, Aurelia does a really desperate thing because she is kind of her evil father tells her she's going to marry this man who is so much older than her, and he's just a bad guy. She really does not want to marry him. So she does something really desperate, and now she's having to live with the ramifications of that. And I'm really enjoying it. It just has her exquisite writing as always, and I'm looking forward to seeing how things continue on. And then I have really been just getting so excited for middle grade March. So this book haul is going to reflect that. The next one that has an annoying sticker on the front, but the library did not have a copy, and I really wanted to read it, so it's okay. And that's The Great and Terrible Quest by Margaret Lovett. I think on Goodreads, I was looking for more books like either Brother Dusty Feet by Rosemary Sutcliff, or like Adam of the Road, which is, I think maybe it was Adam of the Road. It's a medieval road trip novel, which is, I never knew that would be one of my favorite things, but it is. It says that it's the exciting, engrossing, enchanting story of a quick-witted orphan who risks his life to join a mysterious wounded knight on a quest for something the poor knight can't quite remember, but you will. And it just had really fun reviews. I think it came out in the 1960s. Yeah, 1967. So I know really not much else about it, but it sounded like it could be a lot of fun. Okay, then I have this one, and it is a behemoth. It's very, very long. 981 pages. And this book it's one that is going to be quite an undertaking. And I kind of thought when I got healthy, I would buy it. But then I found out from my friend Lisa that it was 60% off. So here we are. I couldn't resist going ahead and getting it. So this is a not now book, but eventually book. And that is The Reformation as Renewal, Retrieving the One Holy Catholic and Apostolic Church by Matthew Barret. So this is his basically case in defense of the Reformation. And he tackles some of the arguments against the Reformation, such as it was the birth of liberalism. And he kind of gives his defense for it, and you can tell he really just goes into a lot of detail, and it just seems like quite an undertaking, and I think it could be a really cool way for me to learn more about the Reformation, and yeah, just see what I see. I'm trying to, some of the chapter titles, Provocation for Reformation, From Rebirth to Aberration, The Ecclesiastical Watershed, Martin Luther as a late medieval man, From Union to Schism, Protagonists and Protestants. So I am really intrigued by this, and I think it could be some really engaging reading when I'm feeling like tackling it. So maybe in the second half of the year. Okay, Rosemary Sutcliff, just I adore her historical fiction. Every single thing that I have read. So I have here Knight's Fee, and there have been 2 middle grade marches in a row that I've read of Rosemary Sutcliff, and I read The Witch's Brat right at the beginning of the year, and then I thought, you know what, it just wouldn't seem right. Like I should have saved that for middle grade March. So then instead I just had to buy another Rosemary Sutcliff. So here we are with Knight's Fee, and it says that Randall is an unloved and unwanted orphan kennel boy at Arundel Castle, and then one fateful day he upsets the new lord's meddlesome horse. Against the violent, greedy, and turbulent backdrop of Norman England, Rosemary Sutcliff tells the moving story of a young, badly treated boy who is wagered and won in a game of chess between a lord and a minstrel. And I really enjoy her storytelling. So I think this will be a lovely treat during middle grade March. And then, I can't remember how I stumbled on this one, but speaking of Rosemary Sutcliff, this is a memoir of her childhood. It's called Blue Remembered Hills, and she is someone who has really just been, she really went through it with physical difference, living with physical difference, and living with chronic pain. So even as a little girl, her body was just riddled with arthritic pain. And when I read that, I just thought, like, why? I can't imagine what it is like to be a child and living through that. It just really struck me. It felt really heavy. So I would really enjoy getting to hear her write about kind of her experience of living through that. And I just really admire her writing so much. So getting to know more about her as a person is something that appeals to me. And hopefully I will find it quite a consoling book. Because look at, she brought these beautiful books into the world despite living in very not ideal circumstances. And the next one is a Girls Gone By book, which is something that I've heard Emma at Bookish Princess and Miranda Mills. I've heard them speak about this publishing house for years, and so I finally picked one up, and I picked A Coronet for Cathie by Gwendoline Courtney. This cover is, I just love it. So this is I'm pretty sure it's a boarding school book. And so Cathie goes away to boarding school, and it really appealed to me. Also, there are some nice illustrations in here. And this to me seems like if Betsy Ray had gone to boarding school, what it would have been like. This was first published in 1950. And then, now, 2 middle grade marches in a row, I have read an Eilis Dillon book and really enjoy her writing. She's an Irish author, and I now, each time the Irish readathon happens, I also want to do something for that. So I have a few books that I'm interested in for that. And the first is this Eilis Dillon that I picked up, and it's a little rough looking, but I have to tell you that when it arrived, it had this brown tape around all of the edges. And so I don't know if it's more annoying for it to look like this with, some of the tape taken off. And, it did tear a little bit in certain places, or for just to have that look. I don't know. But here we are. This is, this book, the library does not have this. So I guess I'm overall just happy to have a copy. But A Family of Foxes, there is this, these group of foxes, and foxes, have this kind of reputation where people are not thrilled for them to be living there. But these boys in this small Irish town, does it say the name of it? It doesn't. So the foxes were on their way to a zoo in Dublin, and then there was a storm, and they were lost overboard. So the boys rescue the foxes, and they try to keep them safe. And I liked the notion of that story. And let's see, there are illustrations in here. Vintage children's literature, there is just nothing in the world like it. And it looks like this was published in 1964. So there we have it. Now, speaking of Irish authors, I saw on a blog, I heard about this duology, and so this is one of the lost books, which makes me so sad. But I guess at least it's the second book that's lost. But Maura Laverty. So the first is Never No More, and this is a kind of fictionalized memoir of her childhood in Ireland. And it is just, I think the writing is going to be exquisite. I've read a few samples, and I really loved the idea of it. Now, the second one is, I think she was involved in helping out with this. I think she volunteered during the Spanish Civil War, or maybe she was living there, and I don't know. But I am really excited to have this one, and it's in such beautiful condition. So hopefully I'll get the second one at some point, and we shall see. Then I found out that there's a biography, an autobiography of Margaret Oliphant. And it's very short, but I loved the idea of this. As you can see, another lovely sticker right on the front of a book. This is what happens when you buy used books, but this is also what happens when the books that you're interested in are harder to find. So anyhow, the autobiography of Margaret Oliphant, I'm really looking forward to trying this out. I think she outlived all her children and her husband, and that is just such a uniquely tragic thing to happen to a person. So that part is going to be really heart-wrenching. But I do want to hear from Margaret Oliphant about her life. It's really fun to think about hearing from her what she thought her life was like. Okay, 2 extremely beautiful books, and some of the most kind of high quality that I think I've ever purchased. So these are put out by Purple House Press, and I think through Bookstagram I have heard about them, and I finally took the plunge and got myself a copy of them. And I don't think I can adequately convey to you kind of what high quality they have to them. They're so heavy. They just feel so sturdy. So the first is The Ark by Margot Benary-Isbert, or Isbert. It's a German name. And then Rowan Farm. So they are about a German family after World War II, kind of living in post World War II Germany and what that's like. And the writing is just supposed to be really beautiful. And like I said, vintage children's literature, we get along. So I am so excited to be buddy reading this with a couple of friends. And they're just such beautiful books. So really looking forward to hopefully it's a hidden gem that is a hit with me. Because sometimes, I'll buy an older book that, the library doesn't have, and then the writing I don't necessarily hit it off with. I'm really hoping to love her writing. And then the last book for you, and that is a newer release. It came out last year, and I am really looking forward to giving this a try. So this is by an author who, she has a shop on Instagram, a fine quotation, and then she also has an author page. And this is her debut novel. It's Island of Stars by Carrie Brownell. And it has just all of those kind of vintage, if you enjoy vintage children's literature, it has those elements. And having fallen in love with life, we have ceased to dream of eternity. That's the quote that's there. And there are twins and they have a new friend, and there's a summer where they get to explore this unknown island, and they go on all sorts of adventures. And it just seems like it could be really captivating and become a new favorite. So looking forward to reading a debut novel and just being completely enchanted by it and having it feel escapist and wonderful. Those are all the books for the book haul. I hope that you enjoyed getting to hear about them, and I will keep you posted if that other book by Maura Laverty ever arrives. I do know she also published several cookbooks, so those actually were pretty intriguing to me. Yeah, so we'll see if it does, and I will be back with another video soon. Bye!